What's up, guys? Welcome to Christian Maniacs, and welcome to the VIP Lounge. Today, we have the one and only Chris Van Vliet in the house, everybody.
CVV in the VIP. Thank you for having me.
I love that. I don't know why I didn't think of that. So, hey, what's going on, my friend? Thanks for stopping by.
Well, thank you. It's a great way to spend a Friday. So appreciate you having me on. Appreciate that you're not wearing that terrifying mask behind you.
Yeah, not yet. I mean, I always could.
Well, I think if we started this interview and like I signed on to here and you had that thing on, I might be scared.
I thought he was just gonna be like, nope, click off, bye.
Yeah, no, wrong Zoom link. Sorry.
Wrong Zoom link. I love it. So I mean, I got a couple questions, which is pretty cool. I got people in their chat that seem to be fans and have questions as well. If you want to ask me anything at all, too, feel free. I'm not going to be like, no. But I do actually, right out of the get-go, I do have a question here. I actually had to write it down so I didn't forget it. So, like, what made Chris Van Vliet? Like, how did you break out into doing these wrestler interviews from being, like, movie star or whatever, musicians, to moving into, like, the wrestling world?
Yeah, and I think that a lot of people don't know that my background is in broadcasting. I've been fortunate to work in radio and television since 2005, and even more fortunate to work as an entertainment reporter for most of that time. So most of my career has been spent interviewing celebrities, musicians. I've been on red carpets. I've been able to travel the world and interview the biggest stars in the world. And honestly, the wrestling thing kind of happened by accident. I'm a lifelong wrestling fan, like you, like everyone watching. And I just kind of thought when I was hosting a few of the shows that I was on, we always had these different celebrity guests. And one time I asked my boss, I said, could we ever have a wrestler? Oh, yeah, we've done that before. Sure, yeah. And I was like, oh my God. So not only do I get to hang out with a wrestler, I get paid to do it. That's honestly how this began. It was just like an excuse for me to hang out with wrestlers. So the first one I ever did was Bobby Lashley. It was in 2007. He was the ECW champion at the time. I was hosting a show called 969 in Vancouver, British Columbia. And I was just like, this is so cool that not only do I get to hang out with a wrestler, but I get to like basically ask them whatever I want. Sure, we'll ask them the questions that we'll use on television, but I got to ask them the questions I wanted to know as a fan. In my YouTube, we were only airing the stuff that we would air on TV, 10, 15, 30 seconds. And then we had another 10, 15 minutes of me asking questions I thought were interesting as a fan. I didn't want that to be deleted. So I just started putting them up on my YouTube channel so that they lived somewhere. And here we are 8.5 years later, and people still seem to be checking them out.
8.5 years later. That's something, man.
Yeah, so the YouTube channel, again, was an accident in 2011. I was just like, yeah, I'll just put some clips up here. And I was putting my wrestling clips. I was putting some interview clips, some celebrity stuff. Some of the celebrity interviews were doing pretty well. Some of them have well over a few million views. But then I realized that I was getting access to wrestlers that a lot of people weren't getting access to. So I'm like, what if I just started growing on that? So a few years ago, really just started putting in more work into making those wrestler interviews happen.
Yeah, I mean, now they come to you, right?
Some of them do.
You're like, hey.
Some of them do, but most of them don't. So I think everybody needs to know that I ask a lot of people and get a lot of no's, or I ask a lot of people and get no response. But then every once in a while, someone's like, yes, I will do your show.
Yep. And that's how, like, I get asked that, like, when I announced the week, this week was going to be, I was asked, like, how are you getting all these people on? I'm like, I just ask, and like, same thing. I'll get a lot of non-responses, or it's just because my emails didn't get sent out because Gmail, like, to screw up, I found out that I had no more room on my Gmail account, and, like, all those emails were just sitting there.
Oh.
So they all just kind of went all out at once last night around midnight.
But I think at the heart of this, though, there actually is a message. And I think that people are scared to ask. I think that people are scared of the possibility of hearing no or being embarrassed or whatever the case may be. And I think in those situations, you just have to realize, like, what's the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is they say no.
Right? Yeah.
But in most cases, they're probably not even going to respond if they're not interested. So I think that people just need to keep in mind that, the worst you can get is no. So just go after it. If there's something you want, and I don't just mean getting interviews, something you want in life, forge a path and make this thing happen.
So one of my goals is one that you've already done. John Cena, one of my all-time favorite wrestlers. To be able to interview him would be absolutely insane. But I mean, he has such a crazy schedule. I could only imagine.
Well, maybe though, when Fast and Furious 9 comes out, maybe you could somehow, figure your way into that. Because I think that at the end of the day, that's how you get someone like a Rock or a John Cena or a Batista. They're in promotion mode when their movies come out. So and look, at the end of the day, this is also all about value. What value can you provide to them? So if you can provide, mega value to someone like John Cena, whose time is very valuable, maybe he'll take the time to do it. So good luck, man. I hope this happens.
Yeah, you and I both. But I mean, so I'm still somewhat new to the interview game. Only if you go back and watch, only done a couple for now. So just to be able to get just you alone blows my mind. Like I said before the interview, I'm honestly really grateful that you're here, and I think everybody much love in the comments already.
Oh my gosh! Well, thank you, everyone. You're awesome. I should probably pull up these comments. I want to see what you guys are saying here.
Yeah.
Just gonna let's see.
So we got some people, Chalmers saying, "Chris, you're killing it with these interviews. Thank you, appreciate that." Hey, Chris, how much did those 20 chops hurt?
A lot. Yeah, a lot. But I have to say, though, the chops were my idea. Okay. So, yes, it hurt. My chest probably went numb after the first 5. I'd say after the first 5 chops, my chest went numb. And then I just kind of, felt the rest of my chest just got redder as we kept going. But yeah, it was definitely my idea to make this happen. And let me set it up for you. So I had interviewed Sean Spears after he left WWE, after he had made his appearance with Double or Nothing. We did an interview, and I knew he had his wrestling school, and he said, "Come on down anytime, we can do a segment at my wrestling school." And I trained briefly at wrestling school. I went to wrestling school for a few months in Toronto.
That's right. Yep.
And I said, "Great, I'll come in. I'll hit the ropes. I'll take some bumps. We'll lock it up. It'll be a cool segment." And when I got there, that was the plan. And then he goes, "Well, what if I gave you a chop?" And I'm like, "Sure. Yeah, I mean, sure. Yeah, I'll take a chop. No big deal. I just don't think that's that interesting." I said, "Why don't you instead line up all your students and then have them chop me?" And he's like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, for sure. This will be great." Not realizing that at Flatbacks Wrestling School in Central Florida, all the students get 2 chops. So 8 students times 2, that's 16 plus Breeze and Spears. Yeah, you do the math. It's a nice round number.
And I was actually going to bring that up because I actually have a picture of what your chest looked like right here.
Great. Yeah.
This is what it looked like after the end of it.
Yeah, it only looked like that for, 8 months after. I think
8 months?
No, I'm joking. It was 6 days. So
Okay.
very red. I didn't bleed at all. Very red and welted the first day. Then it turned to bruising for the rest of the time.
Sean Spears looks really, really happy in that picture.
He plays a good heel. Ronnie is such a nice guy. That's his real name. Ronnie is such a nice guy in real life, but Sean Spears is, he's a true heel.
It's actually interesting because before you did that interview, right when he left WWE, that place I was telling you off camera, the Heroes Hideout. He went.
Oh,
there.
That's right. Yeah, I remember that.
He
it was
came
his first
there.
signing, I think.
And I was there, and I got his autograph on my title belt here, and I got.
Oh, nice.
And I got a picture with him, and it was like a last minute thing. I'm like, oh, hey, I gotta go there. I loved him in WWE. I thought he was definitely underrated there, and the perfect 10. Why not, right? And So I rushed down to get there, got the autograph. I mean, I think Billy Gunn was there too, and I'm like, I just want, I want him. That's it. And,
Oh, you can't do that. Like, do Billy Gunn like that. Billy Gunn's great. I love that guy.
I was also supposed to go to work right after too, so I was kind of on a crunch there for time. But I mean, it was great. He, like you said, he was a generally nice guy. But will I take a chop from him? Probably not.
You should. Everyone should take a chop from Sean Spears.
I've taken a chop once, and that was from a independent wrestlers. I don't remember who he was. He's one of my friends, but he was setting us up in concessions and all that. He's like, "Hey, you want to take a chop?" I'm like, "Yeah, how bad can it be?" And he did it, but he didn't do it correctly.
Oh no!
Yeah, a little bit too high, and yeah, I'm like, probably not gonna do that.
Did you have the handprint on your chest?
Yeah.
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 I know what that's like. Yeah, I know. I'm speaking from experience here.
Yeah, just a little bit, right? So I gotta ask about, like, which one was the worst? Do you remember back then, like, which one was the worst chop to take?
Oh yeah, I remember vividly. Yeah, of course. You can watch the video and you can see exactly which one's the worst. And it's the first one that Tyler Breeze gives me.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because right before he gives it, he's like, don't worry. I'm not much of a chopper.
That's right.
And then he gives the chop of his life. And Spears, I mean, don't get me wrong. Sean Spears' next two chops were number 2 and 3. So Breeze number 1, his first chop number 1, then both the Spears number 2, 3, and then Breeze again. But Spears was like, I'm known for my chops. I'm sorry. I can't pull it back. Like, all right, no problem. But yeah, that first one from Tyler Breeze was like a gunshot.
Yeah, no, and I mean, you can see it in Spears' face too. Like, he felt bad afterwards.
Yeah, and look, they do genuinely have one of the best wrestling schools in America, if not the world, certainly in Florida. So if anyone's looking to train, Flatbacks has an amazing, amazing program. And what you saw me go through is not a typical class.
All right, newbies, there you go, line them up.
No, there's no type of initiation, which is good.
Didn't you want Payne to do one as well at one point, or wasn't she about to do one, or she didn't want to do one, right?
No, Peyton was kind enough to not do one. So I think if I had 22 chops and 2 of them being from Peyton, that would have put things over the edge.
Oh, it would have been iconic. Chris, can you tell Christopher how to get superstars on here so he can get Adam Cole? Adam Cole.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, big Adam Cole fan, John.
I'd like to. I mean, I've talked to his girlfriend. She was on the show not long ago. I'd like to do an Adam Cole interview. I've actually was speaking with him recently about making this happen. So I think it's possible.
Very possible. For him to come on the VIP lounge, let's give it some time.
Who knows?
I mean, I know he's starting to stream on Twitch right now too, isn't he?
That's right. Yeah, he is. Yeah.
I think that actually going back to what we were talking about earlier about what's the worst gonna happen. I actually did get my first no recently, actually, and that was through Rusev, and that was because he basically said that, well, if I'm gonna be doing an interview, it's gonna be on my show.
Right.
On my Twitch show, because he just started doing Twitch himself too.
Well, that's nice that he got back to you.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, I was in his chat, so I mean, that's the thing. If a lot of wrestlers don't have their inboxes open or like their little booking emails, it's almost next to impossible to try to find them or try to talk to them.
Yeah, and I'll say that I get most of my interviews now through knowing someone.
Yeah, so that's how it is.
I never would have got the Tyler Breeze interview if I didn't already know Sean Spears. I definitely wouldn't have got an interview with Peyton Royce if I didn't know her husband, also named Sean Spears.
And you just did a couple of them. I just saw the Muhammad Hassan one.
Yeah, Muhammad Hassan, Stu Bennett was recent as well. And then this week I've interviewed Eric Young. I interviewed Gallows and Anderson. I also interviewed Mikey Ruckus, who's the guy behind the AEW theme songs. That's a fascinating conversation. He's the guy that creates all the theme songs. And he goes into like great detail about how sometimes he's given like 2 hours to make a theme song from scratch.
Wow.
And it has to be ready for Dynamite that night.
And I love music, so that's very fascinating to me.
Yeah, it's a good one. So that'll be out in a few weeks. Oh, I also interviewed Daniel Pewter, the winner of Tough Enough. We had a great chat. Of course, talked about his incident with Kurt Angle.
Oh boy, I'm sure. How'd that go?
That was good. He's happy to talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Chris, you should interview Grim.
Yeah, I think I should. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Grim, he loves to talk too.
Great.
It'd be a great interview.
I'll watch your interview and we'll get prepared for it.
There's a lot. It's definitely not PG. I'll put that out there.
Okay.
You won't get
for the most part. I am.
You won't get the censored Grim on there.
Okay.
And that's the thing, though. Like I tell everybody, hey, be yourself, because if you're gonna get someone on and they're just gonna be like a toned down version of, you know what I mean? Granted, yes, I know YouTube and I know like getting monetized and stuff like that. Yeah, but I'm not there yet. So I'm like, all right, yeah, let's let it fly.
You'll be there eventually.
Yeah.
It's something to work towards for sure.
Tell Chris to give Coaster a shout out. He needs to get to 1K by the end of this year. By the end of this year, I would hope I'm at 1K.
What are you at right now?
I'm at 387.
All right. Yeah, I'll subscribe to you right now.
Yeah, 388. Perfect. My goal is...
Boom. I just subscribed to you.
Perfect.
Boom.
Everybody should. My goal is 500, actually. I set that goal when I just hit 200. And be fair, I just set this goal. Like, I was at like a handful at the beginning of quarantine in March. So, I mean, I am going there.
Well, look, and I appreciate that you're setting a specific goal because as you know, vague goals give vague results. So it's 500 by the end of the year. That's the goal.
My goal is 1,000 by the end of the year, 500 by the end of October.
You got this.
Yeah.
You got this.
I do. Yeah.
Just keep putting out the content.
And I already have to do I promised one of my friends on Twitter that I would make a 300 video for my 300 subscribers. They want me to recreate the scene from 300. And
the This Is Sparta scene?
Yes, the This Is Sparta theme. So I gotta try
It's Sparta!
I gotta get like full character, everything there. I gotta get all set up. Maybe some CGI. I don't know.
Do it! Yeah!
I told
Send
everybody...
it over, man. Can't wait to see this thing.
Here we go. I told everybody at 400 I would do Matt Riddle's entrance. Flip-flops and everything, because I wasn't a fan. I'll admit, I wasn't a fan of Matt Riddle when he was coming up. To me, I didn't care for it. But he started growing on me a little bit more, and I said, hey, when I get 400 subs, I'll do Matt Riddle's entrance. So, and 500, I believe I'm dumping 500 ice cubes on my head. So,
wow.
There's that. I already did 200, so.
I think dumping them on your head's okay. The counting them out, I think that probably is more tedious than anything.
38 pounds. That's how I figured it.
Oh, okay.
I already did the 200, so I kind of have a rough estimate of a little bit on how that went.
And 200 was how many pounds?
I believe it was 12 pounds.
Okay.
I did it a couple months ago. Luckily, it was a hot day. I'm just hoping. Can you imagine it being in wintertime?
No. Although that would make it more interesting. If you get your 500 in wintertime, that makes that video a heck of a lot more interesting.
I think I already had the chops.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm actually looking at the chat right now. Hello, everyone. John,
Hello.
welcome back from eating dinner. Yeah, great.
Perfect.
JC Harrison, how about $1 million by the end of the year?
$1 million?
$1 million for both me and Coaster.
Shit.
That'd be good.
Shooting for the stars on that one.
Why not?
You gotta set a goal somewhere, yeah.
11 in the UK, says JC Harrison. Well, it's 2:30 here in Los Angeles.
2:30. It's 5:30 here in.
You know what a dentist's favorite time is?
Tooth.
Tooth hurty.
I wish I had sound effects.
Huh? Huh? Tooth hurty?
Yeah, he's here all week.
Feel free to use that to next time you go to the dentist.
When did you realize you wanted to get into wrestling?
I think it was like 15, 16 years old. So I was an amateur wrestler, and I was wrestling for my high school team. And it's funny because when you're wrestling for your high school team, they're telling you pro wrestling, that stuff's fake. You can't do any of that stuff in here. You know, like what we do in here is real. And ironically, there are very few pro wrestling moves that are actually legal in amateur wrestling. It's really funny.
Yeah, you just can't go up and super kick somebody.
No, you can't. You can't even full Nelson someone. A full Nelson's an illegal hold in amateur wrestling.
Really?
Yeah, you can only do a half Nelson. So I was a backyard wrestler. I got it big time into pro wrestling. It didn't matter what my wrestling coaches were saying. I got big time into backyard wrestling. A big wrestling fan. It was the Attitude Era, and that's when I decided, like, I'm going to be a pro wrestler. That was it. I'm going to be a pro wrestler. I loved backyard wrestling. I just love the pageantry of wrestling. I love performing in front of an audience. Like that's always been my thing. I was the vice president of my student council, and I did the morning announcements. I hosted the talent show. I hosted the fashion show. I just loved being able to get that reaction out of a crowd. And in wrestling, you get that instantly. So that's what I wanted to do. That was my decision that I made. But I wanted to get an education first. So I went off to college, was getting a communication studies degree. And I had the bright idea of one summer going, I'm going to start up wrestling school and do that. And then when school goes back, I'm going to do both, which is a terrible idea. Like both require like a lot of effort. Both require 100% of your attention to be good, especially wrestling. Wrestling school was 4 days a week, Tuesday, Thursday, all day, Saturday and Sunday. So I just had to make a decision. Am I going to finish school? Or am I going to finish wrestling school? And I made that decision at that time that I would finish my communication studies degree. I'd get a Bachelor of Arts that I did get, Bachelor of Arts degree, and wrestling would always be there. And I'm fortunate that now I get to work as a broadcaster, and every once in a while, just, dip my toe into the wrestling world, whether it's through these interviews, whether it's through being a ring announcer, or whatever. Dip my toe in and then, retreat back to my broadcasting world.
Broadcasting on Fox, right?
Yeah, so the station that I was on in Miami I was on the Fox station in Miami. I hosted a show called Deco Drive, and that's where I got to basically interview everybody. I mean, you name them, and I've flown somebody somewhere to interview them. So it's been so cool. I mean, I've been very, very fortunate to be able to do this job.
So how much does the whole Corona thing affected your bit? Because obviously you can't fly to these wrestlers or fly to the people that you interview. I'm assuming they kind of I don't want.
Yeah. Well, my biggest thing was I would go to wrestling shows and then kind of figure out interviews around who was booked on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's had to pivot, right? Everybody's had to figure out different way of doing things. WWE's doing something different. You have the Fiend lights on you. Is Bray Wyatt going to show up behind you? What's going on here? What is
the sun?
My God, could it be? Could it be?
Yeah, right. The sun just went down. Now it's actually going to be able to see it. There we go.
Wow.
We got the blue
now you got
one.
the SmackDown lights on you. So everybody's had to pivot, right? Everybody's had to pivot and figure out a different way of doing things. And for the longest time, I always said I wasn't going to do virtual interviews because I wanted to be able to, have that in-person interaction, build that rapport with somebody, shake their hand, look them in the eyes. And when March came around, and at that time we had to stay in our homes for a few weeks, I went, well, let's make the best of this. Let's make the best of this unique time that we're in right now. And I started doing as many as I could. And here we are 4 months later, and it's the only really type of interview that I'm doing right now.
Yeah, through Zoom or.
Exactly. So it's good. There's definitely pros and cons to it. The pros are you click a button and you can, do an interview.
Yeah.
You don't have to book a flight, book a hotel, spend all day traveling
just
coast to coast like I would sometimes.
Just put the microphone up to the speaker.
Yeah, that's it.
Your thoughts, yeah.
The con, though, is you don't get to shake their hand. You don't get
Yeah.
to take a photo with them. But
The interaction, yeah.
we're all, it's the world we're living in right now. We're all figuring out a way how to do it.
Question for you, and I'm sure you get this one a lot. What's your favorite interview you both have done? So that's for me and you. Interesting.
Well, you tell me. You go first.
Okay, so my favorite interview that I've done is always the next one.
What if the next one's awful?
Well, then the one after that.
Okay. Well, for me, I actually have a specific one. It's The Rock, for sure.
You and The Rock have something. I've seen some of the pictures when you two get together.
Well, The Rock also has something with everybody, and that's what makes The Rock The Rock. And they always say you shouldn't meet your heroes, but if your hero happens to be Dwayne Johnson, you should absolutely meet your hero. He's everything that you want him to be.
And he always ends up flipping you off at one point.
He's funny and he's charming, he's charismatic, and he has this unique star quality about him where he makes the interview special for you. He makes the moment special for you. And yeah, there is the viral video of him flipping me off. And so the backstory on that is I was on the red carpet. It was Ballers season 2 premiere. And I'm waiting to get an interview with him. And the way it timed out, we were going to be live on TV. And the way it timed out is Rock walked up to my interview spot. And on a red carpet, you can't control much. You can't control the timing. He walks up to me while we were in the middle of a commercial break. So I'm interviewing him. We're doing our thing. And my producer's in my ear being like, whatever you do, just keep him talking. We've got 30 seconds left till we're back on the air live. So I'm doing whatever I can to keep engaging him. And you can see this in the video. I'm like talking about like nothingness just to keep him standing there. And eventually we're back from break. They immediately toss right to me. We're live on the air now. And I say this, like, Rock, we're live right now on the air. He's like, oh, we're live. I can say anything I want. I'm like, oh, well, I mean, you could, but please don't.
Oh, boy.
And then he thought it'd be funny to give me the finger on live TV. And it was funny in hindsight, but in the moment, it wasn't that funny. My boss was really angry, and we thought we were going to get fined by the FCC. So it was not great. Then the next time I saw The Rock was just a few months later. I saw him for the movie Moana.
Yep.
So a Disney movie. And I'm like, the last time I saw you,
you
flipped me off. And he's like, oh, and you know what that means? And he flipped me off
again. Yep.
which was ironic because he was doing press for a Disney movie.
Exactly. You wouldn't expect that at all. So it's The Rock.
Right.
What are they going to say? No, don't do that.
Yeah, it's The Rock. Exactly.
Did you see the Fighting With My Family movie?
Yeah, I did.
What'd you think of it?
I thought that was a really interesting story. And I think The Rock being in it for a little bit, I think added that much more to it.
Yeah, that's all I can envision what you were saying, that you were trying to keep The Rock's attention, like that scene when the two were talking to him and like he was just trying to walk away and he just kept coming back.
It doesn't matter what your names are.
Yeah. Would you ever interview Jim Cornette?
Yeah, I'd be very interested to interview Jim Cornette. I mean, look, whatever that guy says is very entertaining, whether you agree with him or not. Jim Cornette's very, 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 very entertaining. So, yeah, I'd be very interested to have a conversation with him. I don't know when, but hopefully soon.
I think so. The mindset that you have to have as an interviewer is the same as a wrestler. Like, you ask a wrestler, like, will you wrestle this person? And most of the time they're like, yeah, I want to wrestle everybody. And same like for like interviewing, yeah, interview anybody, everybody. It doesn't matter, heel, face, independent, WWE, mainstream. It doesn't matter. It's just you're putting that name out there.
Yeah, pretty much. I'll interview pretty much anyone, except I don't want to interview MJF again.
This the comment on there saying the Finn Balor toy sat on the bedside table. Yeah, I have. I was gonna say the MJF interview. I saw that one. That was interesting.
Yeah, that's a good word to describe it. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, MJF's just an awful human being, and people are always like, "Oh, what's he like? What's he like off camera?" Well, I mean, what's he like on camera? It's the same person. They're just someone's hit record. That's the only difference.
Which is crazy because for people that know, it's been wildly said on the interviews I have. he started back in independent scene. Like, he was on Grimm's Toy Show one episode as a police officer.
Right. Well, whatever's going on now in his world with his gimmick, he's bought in, and it's not a gimmick anymore. So, hey, good for him.
Living
Good
the
for him.
gimmick.
He's over. He's over. He's a massive heel. He's great on the mic. Looks good in the ring, but he's not a good person.
At least he offered you food.
Yeah, that was a delicious omelet. Yeah, thank you for remembering that. It was a delicious omelet. Only the best for MJF, right?
Yeah, only the best. Yeah, no, I remember because that's all he was doing the whole entire time. Was going and grabbing something or eating or.
Yep.
But
yep.
Did you see he's on Cameo?
No, is he $500 on Cameo?
Yeah, he is.
Yep.
And somebody did it. Somebody bought it, and he just insulted them the whole time.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I mean, you also had an awesome one with Orange Cassidy.
Oh my gosh, couldn't get that guy to shut up.
Yeah, right.
I was actually trying to get an interview with Orange Cassidy for a while, and I didn't have any sort of connection to him. So I tried DMing
I can only imagine.
Tried DMing him, no response. Tried emailing him a few times, no response. My buddy actually runs an independent wrestling company in Florida, Blueprint Pro Wrestling, which I'm the ring announcer for. He tried to book him. He emailed him, tried to book him, no response. So I'm like, huh. So when we saw him at StarCast, I just walked up and I said, hey, can we do this thing? Yeah. That was it. And then we did that whole interview, and man, what a chat, right?
I mean, yeah, he said so much entertaining stuff. It was, especially that one part. Right?
Oh my gosh, that one part when he said, "No."
Talk about somebody living their gimmick.
Yeah, man, he's just too cool. He's too cool for everyone.
Freshly squeezed, yeah. Who would be a dream person to get someone on the show that you have not gotten on your show yet?
All right, so number one at the top of the list is Vince McMahon.
That would be cool.
Right. I'd love to have an interview with Vince McMahon. I don't think it's that possible, but I'm going to keep throwing that out into the world because I have a hope that maybe one day it'll happen. And think about it. You and I wouldn't be having this conversation if it wasn't for Vince McMahon and what he created.
Exactly. Where it all began, yeah.
And I wouldn't just want to talk to him about wrestling. I want to talk to Vince McMahon, the person, about, what he's built. Vince McMahon, the entrepreneur, is fascinating to me. What makes him tick? Because you don't just wake up one day and you're a billionaire. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of dedication. And I'd love to hear all about that. So that's number one. Number two on the list, I want to interview Stone Cold Steve Austin. That wasn't very good. So Stone Cold Steve Austin. So Austin's number two on the list. And he lives in Los Angeles. I now live in Los Angeles. So that'd be a great one. The Undertaker as well.
Undertaker.
And he's been doing some interviews recently.
I was going to say, he's starting to come out of his shell a little bit more.
Yeah, that one might be possible. It's just a matter of figuring out how to make that happen,
You might have to sit in a coffin for a couple of hours, but hey.
I'm down. I see in the comments here, John says I should try for a Triple H interview. Yeah, I would love to interview Triple H. He was one of my favorites growing up. I had a poster of Triple H on my bedroom door. I was fascinated by the matches that he had. It was his match with Cactus Jack really put Triple H on the map for me. Royal Rumble, that hardcore match that they had. So it was like Royal Rumble 2000, I think it was. So yeah, Triple H would be a great one. And look what Triple H has grown into. Speaking about a businessman.
Yeah.
Speaking about an entrepreneur, like
NXT.
My goodness.
Everything that he's done in NXT and everything, yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for me, obviously, like I said, John Cena would be number one. A lot of the big names, but there's definitely one that you did that definitely fascinates me because I would love to learn more about him. And I want to see if you can guess who that is. It's a good friend of yours.
Dolph Ziggler.
100%.
Yeah.
Dolph Ziggler, immediately you knew who that was.
Dolph Ziggler's great.
He's so underrated in the WWE.
Oh my gosh. So good. And then here's the thing about Dolph Ziggler is that he can put on a great match with anybody.
Yeah, we've seen it. Yeah.
He's the safe bet, you know. And then here's what's interesting. How funny was it that he has a title match against Drew McIntyre at Extreme Rules with, let's be honest, zero build up to it. And I think someone pointed it out that he only has one singles win this year.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that's what they pointed out. I think that was right. For one singles win, and then went into this match, and I think we all kind of knew what was going to happen in this match.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be cool to see him be the champion again, but
yeah, Dolph Ziggler would be a good interview for you. He's a great guy.
Yeah, that'd be something. I think.
Yeah.
What would you guys think in the comments? Would you like to see Dolph Ziggler in the VIP lounge in the future? Can you put the Fiend or Funhouse Bray for an interview? That would be.
Oh my god.
That would be. Especially if you get Funhouse Bray.
Yeah. I was supposed to get an interview with Bray Wyatt like 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago. And at the last minute, they changed, and I ended up getting Wade Barrett instead.
Hey,
which was a great interview. But yeah, I was prepared to do like a full set of questions prepared for Bray Wyatt, which was a very different Bray Wyatt than we're seeing now, but still, you know, Bray Wyatt. And at the last minute, they said Bray's not available, but we made someone else available. So, oh, okay. I mean, I think that one will happen eventually.
It has to, yeah. Yeah. Yes, get Dolph Ziggler. Everybody wants Ziggler.
Yeah, there you go.
Ziggles, yeah. Just don't call him that.
Just call him Nick.
Nick, yeah. Question for Chris and Coaster. If you had some amount of control over any wrestling company, who would you push for the lower to mid-card or lower mid-card to the top of the card? That's a loaded question.
Yeah, it is a loaded question, but I just pushed Dolph Ziggler. I've been saying this for years. I know he had a title match on Sunday, but I would push Dolph Ziggler and get him booked correctly. I think that would have been, and I also would have given this answer to you 7 years ago when Dolph Ziggler wasn't being booked correctly.
Yeah, I mean, he won the U.S. I saw him win the U.S. title at what was the show? Clash of Champions, and then he put it down and then walked out. I think he talked to you about that in an interview. That match, that show. Isn't MVP's talk show the VIP? There's missing letters in there. VIP lounge, yeah.
There you go, VIP lounge, yeah.
Yes, his is the VIP lounge with MVP. Mine's not with MVP. That would be interesting to have him on, though, wouldn't it?
Oh, it'd be great. Well, today it's with CVV. You don't need MVP if you got CVV.
There you go.
No, MVP's great. Love that guy.
I want to try. So, for the first person that's gotten me into wrestling, I want to try getting the Hurricane on, because he's who got me into it. He came to my mom's job when she worked at KB Toys at the headquarters, and I was there, and I got a chance to meet him when I was really, really, really little, and saw him wrestling on TV. Started seeing he wasn't really that great, and he lost a lot of matches. And then all of a sudden, this rapper out of nowhere came out, and from West Newbury, Massachusetts, and I got hooked on John Cena.
So John Cena is your favorite wrestler?
He was for a long time.
Okay, who's your favorite now?
Bray Wyatt.
Oh, okay.
Horror stuff, like I said, I love it.
Yeah. So were you a Kane Undertaker fan too?
I loved Undertaker. Yeah. Like, the first ever SmackDown, first ever actually wrestling show I went to was when like Undertaker was there. It was in Albany, New York. That's really all I go to is like Albany, New York for the shows. And I don't know if you remember this. It was a long time ago. But there was a segment where Carlito was outside shoveling snow, and he was in a sling.
Yeah.
And a car rolls up and splashes him. I was there for that. And that was also the same night that Rey Mysterio teamed with Eddie Guerrero I don't remember who they faced. I just remember that seeing the Lowrider come out listening to music, and Undertaker was there. And since then, I always was like, I got to see the Undertaker again in person, and like growing up now, like going to shows. And every single time I would go to a show, he was never there, of course. And then later in the years, he would stop going. So I figured, you know what? I know the one place he'll go, and that's WrestleMania. And I went to WrestleMania 35. And he didn't show up. I was so bummed.
That's right. Yeah, well, he was there. He just didn't show up.
And I'll have to send you a picture. I put it up a couple times in different interviews, but the seats I had for WrestleMania 35 were not great at all. Like, they were behind that giant screen on the stage. So,
Yeah.
like, I saw maybe this much of the ring. But, I mean, that's what I get for pre-sale tickets that were only, like, $200 for 2 tickets at WrestleMania. Oh. So
that was a good show, though.
It was a great show, yeah.
Although I've said this before, but it bears repeating that I don't think New York's a great place to have WrestleMania.
It jams everything up, I learned, yeah.
Also, like, look, if they could have WrestleMania in New Orleans as often as they have the last few years, I think everyone would be happy because everything's really centrally located there. There's lots of places to go out and eat and drink and have fun. New York, it was like to get from where Brooklyn was, where they were having NXT and Access, to get from there to where actual WrestleMania was, I mean, over an hour to get there.
You were there, I take it.
I was there, yeah, and everything was like just so spread out. I've been to the last 9 WrestleManias.
So yeah, this was our first one, and we did the Access thing. We stayed in a hotel. We did Access. I mainly wanted to go there the first night just to meet Kurt Angle, and like I was not familiar with Access and how it worked. I didn't know they switched out halfway through a session.
Oh yeah.
So the guy was like, "Well, you could go on the line, but you're probably not gonna get to meet those guys." I'm like, "What do you mean? The line's not that long, and it's still like 2 more hours in the session." So I go there, and then all of a sudden I see the line get cut off. I'm like, "Well, that's weird."
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I see Kurt Angle get up, walk away. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
But the replacement was, ironically, the Hurricane. So I got a before and after picture with him from like 10 years later. And I put it on Twitter, and he retweeted it. So it was him. It was Jeff Hardy. It was Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan.
Oh, cool.
And I like I said, I met the Hurricane once before. I met Jeff Hardy in New England Wrestling Under Stars a few years ago when he was there with his brother and Cody Rhodes and all that before he went over to and start all that AEW. So it's like 2 out of the 4 that are up there I already have autographs with, but hey, it's still pretty cool to meet them.
Yeah, and now you know the secret for Access. It's as soon as you get in, if there's an autograph that you want, as soon as you get in, you go straight to that line and you wait there.
And the sucky part was that, so the people that wanted to meet Jeff Hardy, there was tons of them right outside the line that they were telling, no, you can't come in the line because of the people that were already in the line. Yeah. And there's like people who cosplayed as him, and like he felt so bad for them, and it was horrible. And actually, were you there when he was there? Did you get his autograph or anything?
I don't think I've ever got an autograph at Access. I've usually just gone and checked out what they have to offer and maybe do a few interviews, and that's usually it.
Yeah, so this is the belt that I brought there. Full of,
oh, that's badass.
Full of autographs.
That's cool. Wow.
And then this is what Jeff Hardy did. It's all...
Yeah, wow.
It's all... I said, Jeff, what are you doing? He's like, I'm just doodling.
That's awesome.
Took up half of the side of the belt. I'm like, hey, you know what? Hey, that works. I'll take it.
Jeff Hardy, yeah.
It's Jeff Hardy. Just no one else is allowed to sign on that side.
Yeah, there's no room now.
But, yeah, no, that was great. And then we were there for the day when Finn Balor was there. And it was during the Hall of Fame. So I didn't get to go to the Hall of Fame, but I didn't really feel up to going to the Hall of Fame. I'm sure you were probably there, right?
I didn't go to that Hall of Fame, but I've been to several, and they're interesting because they're really long. Yeah. Yeah,
so, like, when the news broke out what happened to Bret Hart there, like, it was kind of chaotic there at the scene of the Access because everybody's like, oh, wait, what's the odds something like that's going to happen here? and we wanted to go just meet Finn Balor, and he ended up being one of the picture ones instead of being like ones that you can go up and talk to for a second and get an interview. So it was like literally, hi, but like I can talk to this thing a lot more than I talk to the real Finn Balor.
Oh, yeah.
But there was such a big line for him. I ended up taking a video and being like, see, Vince, you're saying he's not over. This is living proof that he is, because everybody ran to him. But it was cool. Like, the ring from WrestleMania 3 was there. I'm sure you saw that.
Yeah, that was cool.
I saw Grim super kick somebody in that ring.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
They let him do that?
He told me that he was going to do it anyway.
Wow, good.
And he
good
didn't,
for him.
Although he didn't know who it was that he super kicked.
Oh.
It was some random guy. He's like, hey, you're Grim from Grim Store Show, right? Yeah? You want to super kick me? It'd be fun. I'm like... And he did it!
Wow, that's great.
But, yeah, and then we did the Mania, and I had tickets for the night after for Monday Night Raw. And, the 2 hours before the show ended, because, like you said, going from our hotel to Access, just getting in New York City alone, it took like an hour to get 2 miles. Yeah, or 1 mile an hour. Yeah, it was horrible. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to deal with that again. I can watch it better seats on the TV. But I told my fiance, I said, however, if The Undertaker shows up, I'm going to be so aggravated. And what happens? We all know what happens. The Undertaker showed up for Monday Night Raw. I was like, I can't win.
Right.
It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. But WrestleMania, though, ended up putting a sour taste in our mouth at the end of it, though, because we were stuck there until 3 a.m.
Yeah, it was really hard to get out of there.
Especially if you didn't drive there, yeah. Like,
yeah, that Uber situation was very difficult. I had to deal with that too. It took us like...
That's funny that you were over there then, too, and I didn't even see you.
Well, there's also 80,000 people there, you know.
And it was raining. Not a lot of people know that. It was raining.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. I had a really early flight the next morning, so I basically, when the event ended, we sprint. We got out of the stadium as quickly as we could, basically to start getting that Uber.
Yeah.
And then it still took a long time. And then we found out the secret. Someone in the Uber lot was like, if you call an Uber Black, they're sitting right here waiting. If you call a normal Uber, you might not get one.
I've never heard of Uber Black.
That's like, like a Mercedes or an SUV or like something like something like John Cena would be driving in.
Oh, like Batista came out in, right?
Sure. Like Uber Black's like just a higher end car.
I didn't think about that. Well, so when we left the stadium, both of our phones were dead.
Oh no!
So
I'm gonna call an Uber.
Like we were trying to figure that out, and we kept getting oh, go over to where the Uber is. There's somebody with a jacket on that's supposed to be working there. Oh no, I don't know what you're talking about. Go back over to the gate. So we kept going back and forth in the rain. It was getting late. The lines were getting busy, and then eventually, one of the gate people were like, "No, we'll bring you back up to the charging station," and brought us through the part of the stadium that not a lot of people go to, where the wrestlers were and everything.
Yeah.
So and the guy who was taking us through these elevators and these hallways, he's like, yeah, it was cool because Triple H was just on a golf cart 5 minutes ago. Right over there. I'm like, wait, what? The phone can wait. Can we go back that way?
Yeah. Wow.
But we ended up getting the phone charged, and yeah, it cost me a lot more money than it did to get there. And yeah, by the time I got to our hotel, it was 3:30 in the morning, and
oh my god!
Just because I didn't want to drive the 20 minutes, and the taxis were nuts because the taxis and the limos, they're like, "Oh, hey, can you drive this way?" 20 minutes. No, I'm only going to the city. What if I pay you a little more? No, I'm going to the city only. I'm like,
yep. That's a New York City cabbie. All right, I got about 5 more minutes, so let's try to get to as many questions as we can here.
Sounds about good. Coaster asked CTV about the 300 video. Yeah, that's coming. That's coming. Yeah, we talked about it
What's
earlier.
happening? This is Sparta.
Yeah. Do you prefer CVV or CV squared?
CV squared. I mean, most people call me CVV. Although, remember when Austin Aries was calling himself A double?
Yeah.
I started calling myself CV double, but I was the only one calling myself that. Nobody would call me CV double. So CVV, it makes it easier than trying to pronounce Van Vliet. Although once you've heard it, I guess you can say Van Vliet.
Unless you're Tony Khan. Or not Tony Khan. Not just Tony Khan. You had a couple of people that are like that. You go interview them and they're like, Mr. Van Vliet. They know you.
Yeah, I'm like, wow.
What about you? Do you have any? I usually open it up at the end for questions for me. Do you have any questions for me?
What's this red light that is on you?
So red light, I do DJing. So I have a DJ light that I kind of just turn into a thing because most of my interviews are at night. So I usually would have a light on just to make it different.
Well, like I said earlier, I thought the Fiend was going to show up.
Somebody actually thought the same thing too, because one time the light went out, and then I ended it, and they're like, "Oh, Cruiser got attacked by the Fiend." That's send help.
Could it be?
Yeah.
It is.
You just comes out of nowhere. Any other questions for me? What's your favorite wrestler you interviewed? We already kind of answered. He answered that. Yeah, The Rock.
The Rock. Yeah. So, well. What do we got here? Who would you recommend to interview? First on my channel, because I want to start doing interviews. Well, John, I'd say interview anybody you can.
Exactly.
And so I would say just start doing interviews. Like, don't set the bar too high when you're starting out. Do as many interviews as you can. Interview your barber and interview your mom. And I'm not even joking. Interview your neighbor who has a cool job as a train conductor. Interview anybody. If you want to do just wrestling interviews, wait till wrestling shows maybe start back up. Go to an independent wrestling show. Ask the promoters permission if you could interview a few of the wrestlers there, or maybe just reach out to the wrestlers directly. But interview anybody. That would be what I would say.
Exactly, because again, like independent stars, they will love to just get their name out there.
Yes. And the biggest thing though is we talked about this earlier, but what value do you provide? Because if I'm John Cena and I'm giving you 5 minutes of my time, 5 minutes of John Cena's time is very valuable.
Yeah.
So what's in it for them? So instead of saying, hey, can I get this interview? Which is basically saying, here's what's in it for me. I'm getting this interview with you. You then need to spin it in, can I get this interview with you? And I have this many subscribers, this many followers. I've interviewed so-and-so and so-and-so. And then I go, oh, okay, this will be worth my time.
And honestly, that's what I did. That's how I got the people I did. Like, I did something with Thunder Rosa. And I have a good connection with her where I'll be doing some interviews with her promotion as she's starting up. Stuff like that. It's just, it's a way to build a reputation for yourself. The red light's coming back because the sun's going down again.
There it is. The Fiend is coming.
Yeah. Fiendomaniacs. I like it. Chris, you still work for AEW?
Well, I did a few appearances with them in October, which was so cool. But that was it. You know, who knows? I might be back, but I was never under contract with AEW. I was asked to appear on their first episode of Dynamite, which, as a lifelong wrestling fan, to be able to be on the debut episode of the first wrestling show on TNT in 20 years, the first time WWE has competition in 20 years, it was pretty cool.
Mind-blowing. Did you address Simon Miller versus CVV match rumors?
What, are you trying to get me killed? Simon Miller would kill me. What are you doing? Jeez, I don't have a suicide wish or anything. No, I don't want to. No, I'm not. He's an actual trained wrestler. Have you seen that man? He is huge. I don't want to wrestle Simon Miller.
And he slaps himself. He doesn't.
Yeah. Why? Who knows why?
That's why. All right, man. Well, it's been a pleasure interviewing you. Where can they find you at?
So I'm at Chris Van Vliet, VanVliet, right here on YouTube. If you're watching this right now and you haven't subscribed, please take a second to subscribe. I'm also on all of your favorite social medias.
Are you on TikTok?
I'm not on TikTok. I think I might have an account, but don't use TikTok.
Not yet. Oh, last question before you go. I actually was. This is from me. Have you ever done an interview where, like, you just wanted it to be like MJF? I probably am guessing it's the one that you would say, but like where you didn't think it went according to plan.
Well, that's definitely one of them for sure.
Where you didn't storm out on any of them though.
I'd say that for the most part, when someone's agreeing to do an interview, they know what they're signing up for. You know, they're dedicating a certain portion of their time, and they're usually on their best behavior because there's a camera there and a microphone. So no, I haven't had any really terrible interviews other than MJF.
You hit MJF, be better.
Yeah, that's right. But thank you for having me on, Coaster.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so for me at Coaster Maniacs, we say thank you. We will see all of you guys tomorrow. There's going to be another interview with Dead End Old YouTuber as well. Sunday, we're going to be talking to Ziggy Dice, the outlandish one. I'm Coaster Maniacs. He's Chris Van Vliet. And we will see you in the next video. Take care.